turn, no place to hide this time. No words to say, no prayer, no verse or no rhyme. Nowhere to turn and I haven't left behind. I wanna be alone, a place no one can find. Everywhere I look I see shadows stare back at me. I know I'm never gonna be the same. Never gonna be the same. Nowhere to begin, the battle's at I won. Nowhere to kneel, repent the sins that I've done. Nowhere to send the ghost that lives in my mind. Nowhere to search clues that I can't find. Everywhere I look I see shadows stare back at me. I know I'm never gonna be the same. Never gonna be the same. Deep behind a restless mind, I paid the price, nothing's free. The path ahead with memory flare. Eyes are open, but I can't see. Where to turn, I can't believe a trace. Don't recognize my own eyes on my face. Nowhere to turn, I can't breathe in this place. Nowhere to run, I can't lose this race. I see shadows stare back at me. And I know never gonna be the same. Never gonna be the same. Everywhere I look I see shadows stare back at me. And I know I'm never gonna be the same. Never gonna be the same.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's rise. Once so proudly we hailed, and the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fights, all the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming. Young rocket treading, the bomb busting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land under the brave? You're the home of the brave. Yes, we are the brave. We'll fight you in name, the name of the brave. We are the U.S. of A. For those unaware, that flag is still there. It's our future to save. Stand of the brave, the U.S. of A. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land under the brave? In the
They teach you a lot in the service. They teach you how to stand straight and fire your rifle. They teach you respect and survival. They teach you how to take a life and how to give your own. What they don't teach you is what happens when you come home. There are over 2 million people in the U.S. Armed Forces. For some, coming home is the hardest part. As a veteran, you are not alone. Reach out, call a battle buddy, and take the Spartan Pledge. For more information, visit us on the web at descendantsofsparta.com.
The Spartan Pledge kind of looks like this, and then I'll give you the rundown of how it got started and how popular it's become. Not really popular, just effective. I will not take my own life by my own hand until I talk to my battle buddy first. My mission is to find a mission to help my warfighter family. That's the Spartan pledge. It's nothing you have to memorize verbatim, but just get the gist of it. And that is, we don't kill ourselves until we talk to our battle buddy. And our mission in life is to have a mission that helps our warfighter family. About 3 years ago when it started between two guys, myself and my battle buddy, Nacho. We were in Iraq together, and we'd lost touch with each other. He called me one night when he was upset because a friend of his had committed suicide. This guy, if I'm not mistaken, was a police officer at the time, but he was also a warfighter. He was a veteran. And that brought up the subject of suicide between us. And we realized that both of us had spent a lot of time thinking about suicide but not talking about it. And with the suicide rate in America being what it is today with warfighters, it's something that is a definite, relevant subject. Since then, I've taken that pledge with other warfighters, more than I can honestly remember. And now not too many people take that pledge with me because they've gone on to take that pledge with other guys, and it's just permeated throughout the community. Every guy I know that I took that pledge with has taken it with several other guys. It's been put on posters on Facebook and all over the place. And in my opinion, nobody owns it. We all own it. We all own a piece of it. We all have a piece of that, the Spartan pledge, because it's something that means something. Because we don't trust the doctors. We don't even trust our family members, but we trust our battle buddies. So take that pledge with your battle buddy. And remember, if someone takes that pledge with you, that means you're taking it with them. Me, I'd have to call and contact a lot of people if I was going to off myself. And I would, because I took up a pledge. That's the descendants of Sparta. That's what it's all about. That's what the Spartan pledge is. If we can just do that, we don't need all the other stuff. We take care of ourselves, we take care of our own, and we maintain a mission focus. The Spartan pledge. That's where it comes from, and you decide where it goes. Contact a battle buddy. Talk to him. Find out that what you realize and what you think is reality is not necessarily reality. We all are going through the same thing in silence. You don't have to sign a paper. You don't have to make a dedication online. It's just a phone call between two guys, two warfighters, male or female, doesn't matter. I will not take my own life by my own hand until I talk to my battle buddy first. My mission is to find a mission to help my warfighter family. All the way. Make it happen.
The trail of the 3rd Army and the 19th Tactical Air Command of the 8th Air Force is marked by more than 40,000 white crosses, 40,000 dead Americans.
We were young and soldiers called to dedicate our lives in the name of God and country. Do what's just for us, go do what's right. A hot band of brothers waiting on our chance to add one more page unto the victory dance. Here am I, Lord, send me, send me. Victory lies in the spirit of the lives of the men who died for me.
Then I heard the voice of the Lord saying, "Whom shall I send? And who will go for us?" And I said, "Here am I. Send me."
This is Michael Broderick, Marine Corps veteran, actor, and Gallant Few board member. You are listening to the New American Veteran on Vets on Media. Now here's Carl Monger.
Hey, good afternoon. Today is Veterans Day, November 11th, 2014, and welcome to the New American Veteran. TNAV is a broadcast of Gallant Few Inc., a 501c3 nonprofit. Our mission is to prevent veteran isolation by connecting new veterans with hometown veteran mentors, thereby facilitating a peaceful and successful transition from military service to civilian life, a life filled with hope and purpose. Our goal is to connect every new veteran with a hometown veteran mentor. We do this by creating and supporting a nationwide network of successfully transitioned veterans that engage locally with new veterans with the same military background now going through their own transition. We believe this will prevent veteran unemployment, homelessness, and suicide. I'm glad you took the time to join us today. I've got a great guest that's coming up here in a moment. I'm waiting for my file to sync up because I've got some really cool quotes that pertain to Veterans Day that for some reason haven't synced quite up on my computer yet. You know, technology is a marvelous thing when it works well. A couple of things while I'm waiting for that to sync up. I want to say Run Ranger Run is just around the corner, and here in a little bit I'm going to play a spot that talks about Run Ranger Run and how it started and kind of where it's going. When in the beginning of this we talk about the number one thing that, in my opinion, and I think in the opinion of my board members, is the issue that's facing veterans today is isolation. There's a commercial on TV that says the biggest problem is being left behind or something like that, and it's a little bit along those same grounds, but that implies that somebody externally is doing something or not doing something for you. In my experience and all the veterans that I talk to and work with, isolation is something that is, for the most part, self-imposed. That veteran, especially, this has become really, really acute to me over the last month because I've worked with a number of veterans from the 75th Ranger Regiment. And when you go through all of the selection process, the mental preparation, the physical preparation, and you go through, you enlist with a Ranger contract, and you go all the way through basic, and you get to airborne school, and you complete that, and then you go to Ranger Assessment and Selection, RASP, and you complete that, and then you go into a unit, and you spend some time there, and for whatever reason, it's time for you to leave. Maybe you got injured, maybe you weren't able to complete Ranger School and get the black and cold tab, maybe there are family issues or your education or something else has taken a higher priority than service in the Ranger Regiment. And you can't have a higher priority in your life than service in the Ranger Regiment and serve in the Ranger Regiment. So you deselect yourself out. When that happens, it carries with that a sense of failure, of embarrassment, of shame. I know when I bring Chris Bemiss on the phone, I know he has gone through the same thing. I went through the same thing 20 years ago when I left, because you've abandoned your team and you've failed to a certain extent. And when that happens, that sense of failure, that disappointment, that embarrassment that goes along with that, it prevents you from connecting with that community. You in effect isolate yourself, even though you're respected in the community, even though you've done a great job, you've proven yourself on combat rotations, which I did not, by the way, because I've never had anybody shoot at me, and I thank God for that. But you take yourself out of communication with that population. And when you have a Ranger that maybe gets injured, or worst case, they can't graduate from Ranger School and they don't get that Ranger tab, when they go back to their community and somebody says, hey, were you a Ranger? Do you think that guy's going to go, hell yes, I was a Ranger. I'm really proud of my service. Or is he going to go, I really don't want to talk about that? And that self-imposed embarrassment, failure, or whatever you want to call it, that leads to isolation is the number one thing that men in the Ranger Regiment leaving active duty need to overcome to help themselves achieve that smooth, peaceful, and successful transition. I believe that happens to a greater or lesser extent in every other unit in the military, because very few people, I think, especially in the combat arms, enlist in the combat arms or become an officer in the combat arms with the intention of doing 3 or 4 years and then getting out. When you're in basic training, you're thinking, I'm going to be a sergeant major. I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. And then for 3 or 4 years later, for you to have a different path that is taking you away from that service, something has changed in the meantime. Honorable service, respected service, but internally, you're going through all of that disappointment, failure, embarrassment, and shame.
So when I say we want to overcome the isolation that leads to that despair, we overcome that isolation by having another veteran that is just like you, carbon copy, male, female, branch doesn't matter, MOS doesn't matter, except that we want to align by branch and we want to align by MOS. And we want female Marine helicopter pilots to help female Marine helicopter pilots or whatever their experience was in the military. When you have that older veteran that has been through all the same things that you've been through and now they've successfully transitioned, they can hold you to account. They can say, I know what you've been through. I know what you're capable of. I talked to a couple of your buddies. I understand the caliber of service that you had. Now let's figure out how we're going to put the trash aside that you've gone through now. Let's redirect all that stuff. Let's be intensely proud of what you did, but let's leverage that as a starting point, as a stepping stone into your life filled with purpose and hope. That is the most important thing that we can do. So in a long and roundabout way, let me come back to Run Ranger Run. When Run Ranger Run kicks off as an event on the 1st of February, we will have, over the next several months, we'll have gone through a lot of awareness to let people know why Run Ranger Run exists. And I just talked about the number one reason that Run Ranger Run exists is to help those veterans overcome that isolation. We overcome that isolation by awareness. We've got to have people out there. We've got to, every veteran that is out there, whether they've left active duty a long time ago, yesterday, or tomorrow, they need to know about this network so that we can get them connected with another veteran that is like them. Family members need to participate in Run Ranger Run because they can help share that information. They can spread that information to people that might not otherwise know about Run Ranger Run. We touched this last year less than 2,000 people with Run Ranger Run 2014. And I looked at our numbers yesterday for veterans that we have provided services to since the beginning of this year, and it's over 500 this year alone. It's over 500. That's more than 2010 to 2013 all rolled in and combined into one. That's more, and we still have another month and a half to go before the year is done. We'll be well over 600, maybe 700 veterans served by the end of the year, and it needs to be 100 times that amount because there's 1 million veterans that are going to be out on the street here within the next few years, and every one of them has earned the right to have that life filled with purpose and hope. And you out there can help us get there. All right. I could talk about that for hours and hours and hours, and Ranger Bemiss is already waiting here online, so I'm going to ask him to unmute his microphone, and we're going to talk a little bit, and then we're going to take a break. We'll watch this little video about Run Ranger Run, and then we'll come back. So, hey, Chris, welcome to the show.
It's good to see you, Carl. It's been a while.
We've never been face-to-face except on video or talking on a telephone. I'm looking forward to the day when I can shake your hand in person.
Absolutely, me too.
All right, so where in the world are you now? It's kind of like the Where's Waldo thing. Where is Bemiss?
I am in Arizona. Well, actually, I'm not too far from where I was when I talked to you a year ago, which I was in Phoenix when I talked to you a year ago. I'm just a couple hundred miles away from that area. So
not all of this audience may know about your background. Would you share just a little bit about who Chris Bemiss is and kind of bring us up to speed with what you're doing today?
Absolutely. Well, I joined in 2000 and went into the military in 2001. Infantry training, basic, airborne school. And my first day at RIP, it was called RIP back then, Ranger Indoctrination Program, was September 11th.
Back when it was hard.
Say again?
Back when it was hard. Sorry, I won't interrupt you again.
Back when it was hard. So they actually came down to airborne school and ran us up to RIP at about 8:45, and we got there a little bit after 9 in the morning on September 11th. So it was right when everything was happening, and we thought they were messing with us, and obviously they weren't. And so we were, pretty fired up to know that we were going to war. Rangers are different. Obviously, you know this, sir. And so that's what we did. We went to war. And on my 5th tour, I was hurt. I returned to the States. I got into alcohol even more than what I already was. And on May 7th of 2005, I flipped my car, broke my neck, and spent the next 19 months straight in the hospital. I got out of the hospital, and I spent about 8 years self-medicating, destroying my marriage, and then getting a divorce last year. And that's where the man behind me in the picture, Sergeant First Class Jason Granger, comes into the picture, so to speak. He picked me up like a Ranger brother does. He got me on the right path, off drugs and alcohol. He told me to suck it up and be a man, and that's what I did. And so I got myself straight, and just in time, because December 27th of 2013, Jay had a parachute accident and died. And ever since then, I've been trying to carry on his legacy of being Jay strong as like Sergeant First Class Jason Granger, and no matter what happens, continuing on. And that's why I've been out in LA making this documentary, and that's why I've been working with you and Gallant Few and trying to help others.
You cut a recording earlier. I might play it after we're done today. That I play on the show every so often, and it is your public service announcement about drunk driving. And I want to thank you for having the courage to go out there, to put yourself out there to talk about your experience so that others can benefit from that. I mean, that's a huge part of the mentoring that we talk about, is the experiences that make up you now can help somebody else not go through the same thing.
Right.
And that's extremely powerful. So thank you for doing that. You have a number of experiences that happened when you were in the Ranger Regiment, and a lot of those things are going into the video. Can you talk, the documentary, can you talk just kind of briefly about a couple of the high points that people are going to be able to watch in this thing?
Well, this video is about overcoming PTSD. Even though you're in a wheelchair, even though you got multiple tours in combat, even though, say, the high points of getting PTSD would be the Jessica Lynch mission, which we've talked about numerous times. But the big thing that people don't know, and what we're trying to educate them about, is that it wasn't just a hostage rescue mission where the Tier 1 guys came in and grabbed Jessica Lynch and took her out, and it was over. There was other people there with her. Obviously, they were deceased. They were not in the morgue. They were buried. And we only came with body bags. And so we had to do what we had to do. And we lived the Ranger Creed, and we dug them out with our hands. There was 8 of them that was buried in the soccer field, and we dug them out, because that's what Rangers do. We leave nobody behind.
Yeah, the Ranger Creed doesn't say, I will never leave a fallen Ranger behind. It says, I will never leave a fallen comrade.
Right.
Sometimes I think it's a little bit of a fallacy that the rest of the military thinks that Rangers don't respect the rest of the military, but they're all brothers and sisters in the same service. Everybody takes the same risk, and I, for one, greatly appreciate all of them. So go ahead.
Well, now that you said that, to be honest with you, I know us guys, and I know that we'll do anything for anybody. We'll stand up for the people that need to be stood up for. And we have operational security. We don't do what this guy just did with coming out and dissing other special operations units. We actually have discipline, integrity, and respect. And I don't think I'm better than anybody. I probably am, but I don't put it that way. We'll fight for anybody.
You know what it is, Chris? It's not necessarily that you're better than anybody. It is the fact that there's the little magical spark that I don't think you can really put your finger on, but it makes you go out and volunteer and do those things, and then you work your butt off to be able to achieve everything that you achieved in the military. Nobody gets given an assignment in a Ranger battalion. You have to earn that. Not even every year, not even every month or every day. You got to earn that every hour that you're there, because like I said in the intro, when you put something else as a higher priority than that, then you're done. You got to leave the unit, and it happens. It happened with me 20 years ago, but that is the differentiator. It's a hell of a lot of hard work, and I'm amazed that a lot of veterans that are out there now think that they should have stuff given to them, whether it's a job or whether it's whatever, respect. You know, you wear a boonie cap around the grocery store, people automatically ought to give you respect. Well, I think if every veteran out there worked as hard as they worked to achieve whatever they achieved in the military, they would be very successful on the outside.
Very true. And that's one thing that makes us such a tight group of guys is when you have to prove yourself every day. If you're not a team, if you're not together, you're not going to make it. Oh, and that's one thing that separates Pat. That's what makes us tight, even after being out for years. The having to prove ourselves day by day, hour by hour. So, without a doubt.
So, okay, so tell me about this documentary. So the documentary is going to talk some about the Jessica Lynch rescue, but what's the overall theme of the documentary? What do you have kind of an idea of what you hope to accomplish once it's released?
Well, 22 veterans a day are killing themselves. And, I mean, you know, if 22 people were dying from Ebola, people would be running naked through the streets screaming at the top of their lungs. Okay, but it's 22 veterans, so, you know, it's kind of pushed underneath the rug. The point of this movie and the point of being Jay Strong, like Sergeant First Class Jason Granger, is the fact that I'm in a wheelchair, I have PTSD, my femur's not connected to my hip, my family left me like I was garbage, I have multiple medical problems, being paralyzed from the chest down, but still, I face it every day, I fight it, and I win. And I don't give in, and I don't become a statistic. And if I can do it, then these other guys can too. I don't necessarily live for myself. I live for my brothers. And that's what being Jay Strong is saying, hey, you know what? This sucks. And it does. Being in this chair sucks. Everything is hard. Nothing comes easy. But I do it, and I'll continue to do it. I'll continue to be Jay Strong and not give in and not become one of the 22. And that's what we want this documentary to project to them, that, hey, if this guy can do it paralyzed, you know, from the chest down, then you can do it. So,
you know, I talked earlier about the quotes that didn't synchronize. I have a love-hate relationship with AT&T Uverse because when the stuff works, I love it. When it doesn't work, I hate it. And about a half an hour before the show was set to start, my internet signal completely died. I had to reboot everything. And so my quotes didn't sync up, but here I finally got it pulled up now. And this talks a little bit, this is a Billy Graham quote, but it says, courage is contagious. When a brave man takes a stand, the spines of others are often stiffened. And that's exactly what you just said. You're taking a stand, you're showing bravery by facing the situation that has been dealt to you. And if you can do that, then other people can do that too.
absolutely.
So what kind of feedback are you getting from anybody as the filmers, the film producers, the videographers that are working with it? What are they saying to you as you go through your story?
Oh, well, I'll be honest, when we did our first interview, there was probably 5 or 6 people in the room, you know, producers, video people, and there was a lot of people with tears in their eyes because it's such a powerful story. There's tragedy. It's a love story, destroyed by PTSD. You know, you lose your best friend. You know, digging your brothers and sisters out of the ground. It's a powerful story. It's going to get people's attention. So I mean, bringing tears to guys' eyes is you know, that there's something in there that got their attention, without a doubt. And I think once it's ready and it's out there, I think people are going to get a lot from it, and I think it's going to have a lot of shock factor because of the things that have happened in my life to motivate people to be like a slap in the face, like, what am I doing? Why? What's my problem?
How much filming is left to do?
We have a jump left to do, and the jump is going to be by Riverside, California, and it's going to be on the drop zone where Sergeant First Class Jason Granger, in the picture behind me, it's the drop zone where he passed away, and that's the last scene we have to do. And I'm hoping to get that done this weekend or next weekend, and then I'm all done, and I don't have to go back to LA for a while.
Hey, you and he did this jump, and that's why it's going to be in the video, because that's one of the, well, a month or so before the accident when he perished on that on the jump. You guys did this jump. It was a tandem jump, right, where you were rigged to him?
He actually was on video when we did the jump. It was November 16th of last year, and a gunnery sergeant with the Marine Corps jumped me tandem, and then Jay jumped video. So Jay jumped, and then we jumped right behind him, and we were all three in the air at the same time. So the reason we're jumping onto this DZ is to honor him, because that's where he passed away. And you know, it's showing that we're, no matter what, we're still going on. And just because my brother died there, you know, that ain't going to stop us from jumping. We're jumping. We're going to be Jay Strong just like him. This is one of the most dangerous DZs in the world. Multiple fatalities every year. Matter of fact, the reason we didn't jump week and a half ago was because the instructor that was supposed to jump me had to jump right before I got there. He had a rough exit. He dislocated his shoulder, had to land with one arm, and he got messed up pretty good, so he's out for a while. But what are we? We're Rangers. We're not going to let this stop us. You know, fear.
Not going to let the fact that I'm paralyzed mid-chest down and people die on the drop zone. I'm going to do it anyway.
Yep, absolutely.
You talked a little bit about Jay. Who else is out there? Can you talk about, put you on the spot here a little bit, maybe a couple other veterans that have been instrumental in your life up to this point?
Well, Brian Parker would be one, a former first bat RRD guy. He kind of took Jay's place as my big brother, and I live in Phoenix, right by him now, and he's the one that's he's been there for me more than anyone, because I can count on him, I can trust him, and he's a man just like Jay Granger, that he says what he does what he said. You know, what he if he says something, he does it. You know, he walks the walk and talks the talk every day. And I really don't want to waste my time around anybody else, because if you're working your butt off every day to get something done, you got to be around the real guys. And when you're around the real guys, you get stuff done. And we're getting stuff done out here. And
and you end up challenging each other too. You're challenging him, he's challenging you.
Absolutely.
Part of the isolation that I talk about all the time, when you don't have somebody like that you're challenging and you're being challenged in return, you're just like a mushroom underneath a little wet tree somewhere. You're just growing a bunch of crap, and eventually you're just going to fade out. Somebody's going to come along with a lawnmower and cut you down. But you've got to get out there. Boone, I played the Spartan Pledge right before the start of the show, because that's exactly what Boone talks about. You have to make it your mission to find a mission to help your fellow warfighters, and that's what you're doing right now. And anybody out there that hears this, if you know a veteran that is isolating, that's not out active in the world, give them the link to this video. Let them watch it, and shoot, they can reach out to me. If they go to gallantfew.org, the top right corner, you've got my mobile phone number and you've got my email. And there's no way that somebody cannot reach me if they want to reach out and reach me. So I encourage them to do that.
I'm glad you brought up Boone, because Boone, without a doubt, is another one of them men that walk the walk, you know, and talk the talk, and he does what he says he's going to do. And in this world that we live in now, where everybody's so self-centered, a guy like that is invaluable. He knows he can count on me. I know I can count on him, no matter what. And,
what's really amazing about Boone too is he has a number of issues that are related to his injuries on active duty, from when he broke his back and from the traumatic brain injury, and now he has developed into Parkinson's. And when you all of those things in together, he could just stay at home and draw disability and watch TV and eat popcorn and never have to go through any stress again. But what does he do? Every week he is out in front of the veteran community.
Absolutely.
He's talking about the issues that are important. He's putting himself out there, and he's throwing his phone number and email out there so he has veterans all the time that are calling him up to ask for help as they work through a situation. Guys like Boone are absolutely priceless.
Well, that's one thing a lot of people don't know. Boone literally pushes himself to, physical exhaustion and pushes himself into bad medical situations because he's every day. I honestly don't know anybody else that does more for veterans than Boone Cutler. I mean, I've seen it. I've been with him.
Saved more lives than anybody else.
Yes. And he's a machine. But he's not a machine. He's human, and he breaks down. And I hate seeing that. But then he literally puts his life on the line every day with the stress he's under and what he tries to do for others, his veteran brothers and sisters, the warfighters. And the whole warfighter community should be grateful for that man. No one should ever, have anything negative to say about him. Of course they're going to, but just one hell of a warfighter, without a doubt.
If anybody talks bad about Boone, send him my way.
Hey, same here.
Hey, Chris, it's been great having you on the show today. Any parting thoughts, memories, anything that you want to throw out there for a Veterans Day shout-out?
Well, I want to say thank you to the All Warrior Network. They're the ones doing this documentary. Greg Bishop, Brian Chung, a great group of guys. Go to Facebook, go to the All Warrior Network, like us. My first article will be out next Monday with the All Warrior Network. Going to be talking about being a warfighter in a wheelchair. And it's a lot of fun. Not really. But we keep going no matter what. And my parting thought would be this. Out of sight, out of mind, forgotten. That's when suicide occurs. You know a veteran, don't let him get out of sight, out of mind. Because when he is, he's thinking, nobody likes me, nobody cares. Even when people do, that's what he's thinking. That's what that PTSD and that TBI is doing to him. It's making him think that nobody cares and that he's nothing. He's nobody. He might as well just blow his brains out. And if he thinks you don't care, he already doesn't care. So why not kill himself or herself? So just make sure they don't get out of sight, out of mind. Let them know that you care. So
Priceless. Priceless. Chris, thanks for being on the show. You're welcome to hang around there. And if you want, I'm going to play a couple of videos, and then I'm going to talk a little bit about my great uncle. If you want to stick around, we can continue that conversation. But
absolutely.
For now, for a second, mute your microphone.
Yes, sir.
And I'm going to jump over here and get back into my next playlist here. This is one of those areas that my soon-to-be assistant for the show is going to help me with. All right, come on, playlist. There we go. I have to be really, really careful, or it will crash on me, and that's not good.
This is Sergeant First Class Retired Mike Schlitz, 14-year Army veteran. Thank you for listening to Gallant Fuse, the New American Veteran, on Vets on Media.
Run Ranger Run is pretty simple. A Ranger, Corey Smith, was about to get out of the Army, and so he decided he was going to run from Fort Benning, Georgia, all the way home to Indianapolis, approximately 565 miles, and he was going to do it in 28 days.
Well, Corey, why are you going to run home? And he said, because I want to illustrate the difficult journey that a soldier has becoming a veteran.
We realize not everybody is the athlete that Corey Smith was when he did the 565 miles, but we realize you can do it as a team and make it an event.
Corey did 565 miles all by himself, and he ran, and he walked, and he biked. So we want 10 people to do 565 miles combined total, running, walking, biking, anything that you can do that you can count distance on. You could have a grandmother walking on a treadmill in the YMCA. You could have a soldier walking patrol in Afghanistan. You could have a kid walking or riding a bike to school, and all of those miles can contribute to that one team total. Run Ranger Run is the most important single event that Gallant Few does. It has a mission of awareness. Gallant Few's mission is to overcome the isolation that veterans may face as they leave active duty.
Gallant Few understands that when veterans transition off active duty, that it is an overnight change. Our goal was to set up mentors to welcome that veteran home, both professionally and socially. And we found that if we take veterans who've already been through that process, successfully transitioned, and mentored them up with these new veterans coming off, that is a perfect match.
If I can have 100,000 veterans across the country that are just standing by waiting to mentor a veteran as he or she leaves active duty, then when that veteran returns to that hometown, they're going to be welcomed, accepted, integrated. They're going to find jobs. They're going to have doors open. The network will be there. And a lot of the issues that we see veterans go through as they transition are going to go away.
People can get involved with Run Ranger Run by visiting gallantview.org and going under events and looking for Run Ranger Run, and all the information on how to get signed up, how to raise awareness, to build teams or become part of a team is all right there at your fingertips.
It's a cool event, it's a fun event, and it's an easy one to participate in.
If you or someone you know is looking for a new job or career, you need to visit the pros. National Career Fairs at ncfairs.com. National Career Fairs hosts over 300 career fairs a year nationwide. The events are free and give you the perfect chance to meet some of the top employers in your area face-to-face. To find the nearest career fair to you, visit ncfairs.com. Again, that's ncfairs.com. What are you waiting for?
One of the things that happens when you sign up for Run Ranger Run, besides getting your Run Ranger Run t-shirt, you also get a Connectity bracelet. It's got the black and gold beads on there, which are the primary colors in the Gallant Few logo. And there's a little tag on here. It has our mission statement on one side, but it also says, take a picture wearing your Run Ranger Run bracelet and tag it, hashtag IDY, and we'll post it on our IDY wall. So you want to get your picture on the Connectity website and their Facebook page. Make sure that once you sign up for Run Ranger Run that you get that and tag yourself in that picture. Run Ranger Run is an event that happens every February. So Corey did 565 miles walking, running, walking again, biking until he got done, and he did it in that month. So teams of 10 coming together nationwide, globally. Last year we had teams in Europe, Australia, Korea, and the Middle East, and I'm sure that'll happen again. The scale of us being able to get our message of anti-isolation, of transition to a life of purpose and hope, we have the capability for it to become Ice Bucket Challenge viral and to go all the way around the world and reach 1 million people. And I can't say it enough. I don't want to say it too much because I don't want to be harping on it. But we need you to get involved with Run Ranger Run and help spread the word. The anti-isolation part, the piece that I want to talk about real quick, has to do with my great uncle, who were both born on the 1st of June. I'm looking for something here I want to show to you. I think it's behind me. Oh, here it is. And except he was born the 1st of June, like 1889 or something like that. So he was just old enough to join the military and go over to France as part of the World War I Allied Expeditionary Force. Ultimately became a corporal, and as an infantryman, and making rank during that time was not the easiest thing to do. And being a corporal in that time frame it's an achievement anytime, because a corporal's a hard striper, and they're, hey, got a helicopter going over. I'm starting to. I don't know if you can hear that or not, but it wasn't a Black Hawk and it wasn't a Chinook, so I have no idea what it was. When you're a hard striper, when you're a corporal as opposed to a specialist, that means you've got leadership tasks. And in his case, he led infantry soldiers as part of an infantry squad. And he never talked about his wartime experiences with anybody in the family until I had gone in the military. I had been deployed overseas. I came back home on leave for a family reunion, and now my great uncle is in his 90s, and I think he was 96 or 97 when he passed away, but he's in his 90s. And he and I are sitting at this family reunion. I think we're at my grandmother's house, having a cup of tea, and he just started talking about the war. He started talking about some of his experiences, and he asked me about some of my experiences, which were nothing in comparison to his experiences. And I asked him what was the scariest thing that he had been through, and he said that there was the Germans were dropping artillery on him, and it was a pretty steady rate of artillery fire. So the rounds would come in, there would be a pause. The rounds would come in, there would be a pause. And he heard one of his buddies crying for help, and he counted. He said in his head the number of seconds between the next round coming in, so he knew he had 30 seconds or whatever it was. So after the last round came in, he started counting his head. He ran out, grabbed the guy, brought him back, pulled him into his foxhole before the next round came in. And I said, Uncle Roy, that's amazing. That's quite a brave thing that you did. Did you receive any commendations? Did you get a medal? And it looked like I'd almost slapped him in the face. He kind of jumped back a little bit and he said, I didn't do anything brave. The only people that got medals were people that were really brave. And I thought that really struck me as his attitude about valor in combat, and that he really didn't deserve anything when, boy, if I'd have been his commanding officer and I knew about it, I probably would have put him in for something. He also told me about losing his 45. He was kind of ticked off about that because he had to send a patrol out, and he gave his 45 to the private that was leading this particular patrol, and he said he watched him with binoculars all the way down to a wood line, and the guy ended up getting shot and killed, and he never came back with his 45, so he was a little bit bitter about that. But I still have his rifle that he carried, a Springfield 03A3, that apparently they were allowed to retain after they left active duty, and he changed the stock out. Now it looks more like a deer hunting rifle, but it's an awesome piece of history. I'm very honored to have it. I also have his compass, and I've shown this on this show before. I don't know how in the world they were able to actually use that to do any land navigation, but this little 100-year-old pocket compass guided him on the field of battle in France. And it reminds me now about how veterans need a compass. Veterans need a compass so that they can stay oriented to their mission, which is to attain that life filled with purpose and hope. And I'm going to talk one more time about my land nav azimuth before I conclude the show. And old time Army, I'm sure Bemiss went through this when he was in RIP. I don't know if they do it anymore or not. If they don't, they probably need to reenact it. When I have GPS, and back in the good old hard days, you had a lens-added compass. And when you're doing night land navigation, especially when you're in the woods of Georgia with the thick trees, you can't see squat in the dark, especially if there's no moon. So you dial in your azimuth on that compass, and there's a couple of luminous dots, and the north-seeking arrow has a little luminous dot on it. So you dial your azimuth in, and then you turn the compass so that that north-seeking arrow lands right in between the dots on the azimuth. And then as you walk, you keep the arrow between those dots, and all you can see are those three little luminous dots. And you walk up to a tree, you go around it to the left, you walk up to the next tree, you go around it to the right, so that you're always correct, and hopefully you're keeping yourself back on that azimuth. And if you go 100 meters in the dead of night trying to follow an azimuth like that, and you're a degree off, at the end of the 100 meters, you're pretty close to where you need to be, because there's not that much variation. But if you follow that 1 degree off and you go 10 clicks, now you're so far off of your original target that you might not be able to find that original target. You might go right past it, or just never find it. To me, it's the same kind of thing. It illustrates transition, because when you leave active duty, if you are not on your azimuth, if your compass is not pointing you down the path for a successful transition, if you're a degree off, let's say you're off that azimuth for 6 months, then that's like 100 meters, and we can connect, we can get other veterans around you, we can help pop back onto that azimuth so that your transition moves in a direction that needs to move. But if you stay off of azimuth and you go 10 years down the road, that's the kind of phone calls that I'm getting now, where veterans are going through a divorce and they're losing their homes, and they have debt up to their eyeballs, and they're really seriously contemplating leaving this earth by doing something that would be absolutely horrific for their family and friends. We don't want people to go that far out. If you're that far out and you hear this message and you want to be popped back onto azimuth, it's not easy, but it can be done, and we can help you do that. But for those of you that know veterans that are on their way out, let's catch them while they're within that first 100 meters of transition. Let's make sure that they're back on azimuth. So as they go down the path, they can help other veterans that are following in their footsteps do the same thing. It really, truly is a matter of life and death, and the veterans of this nation have given tremendously, physically, emotionally, mentally, and a lot even spiritually. And this nation owes a debt of gratitude to them far beyond just going out and contributing to the economy. This nation needs to, you need to reach out. You citizens of the country need to reach out, find that veteran that's in your neighborhood, and make sure that they are welcomed, that they know how valuable they are, how loved they are, and how respected they are. And veterans are going to overcome a tremendous amount just by that little bit of knowledge that they're not alone, that they're not isolated, and that they're of value to the country. All right, I'm coming up on the end of my show. I'm trying to keep it shorter. Shorter is better. I'm a little bit longer today. Chris Bemiss, thank you for being on the show today. Love you, brother. I'm looking forward to the day I can shake your hand in person, and Rangers lead the way. And I'm going to play another little piece here at the end. Chris, you have anything you want to add there before I cut you off?
Yeah. If you have issues and you're a veteran and you want help, go to gallantfew.org, and we will be there for you. Let there be no doubt. So I know the man that I'm looking at on the screen here. He's a good man, fellow Ranger, Bat Ranger, and we can make a difference in your life. That's why we're here.
Thanks for being here, Chris.
All right, thank you, sir.
I'll close out by playing a video called Soldier's Heart. And the credits are on the video, so I won't talk too much about it, but I hope you enjoy.
Hopes, dreams, but a duty's too late. I'm back with our fourth grade to preserve. It's a promise. I've got a love for all of us. For the country was just a natural choice. The struggles of a daily life, the nightmares from the past. The thoughts terrorize mine, the pain that never lasts. It's my battle to be from the battles that we fought. Demanding your country to come back, have fun, man. I drink because I couldn't say I'm sorry. Drink because I cannot be on. Drink the mistakes that I have made and all the troubles that come my way, but mostly of all because I don't feel like a man anymore. Every day I go, I work my fingers to the bone. Stuck in this day and a job was not what I was told. Well, I do it for my family, even though it causes pain. You see the man on a better life with me, so much to me. Drink because I couldn't say I'm sorry. Drink because I cannot be alone. Drink the mistakes that I have made and all the troubles that come my way, but mostly of all because I don't feel like a man anymore. terrorize mind, the pain that everlasts. It's a battle to be won from the battles that we fought. Give everything for your country, you come back. Drink because I couldn't say I'm sorry. Drink because I cannot be alone. Drink because I admit in all troubles that come my way, but mostly of all because I don't feel like I'm in any. Drink because I couldn't say I'm sorry. Drink because I cannot be alone. Drink mistakes that I have made and all troubles that come my way, but mostly of all because I don't feel like a man anymore. Feel like a man anymore. Feel like a man anymore. Feel like a man anymore.
That beautiful rendition of Taps is a public domain recording created by a soldier or employee of the United States Army and as such is not eligible for copyright protection in the United States. Kenny Thomas' song Send Me is used by permission of Kenny Thomas. All other work or recording is original work or used by permission. This has been a presentation of Gallant Fuse, the New American Veteran on the Vets on Media Global Network.